Amen. We are now going to have a testimony from Eugene. He is a old man in his last semester, and it's been a joy having him here. Let's go ahead and give him a hand, and please be praying for him as he shares.
I think it's fine. Sure. Thank you, PG. Yeah, I wouldn't call myself an old man. Usually, I'm the one to be the youngest among my peers. Let's start over again. My name is Eugene. Everybody say Eugene. All right. Ethnically, I'm Russian, but I was born in the country of Kyrgyzstan, which is located in Central Asia. I hope you guys know where it is. During my first year here in Handong, I got to talk with a lot of people, and I introduced myself to a lot of them, and some of them had a pretty bad idea where it is. The worst guess was that it was in Eastern Europe. I hope you guys are better at geography. All right. I lived in Kyrgyzstan my whole life. My parents happened to be there after Soviet Union breakdown and Kyrgyzstan became independent. I was born kind of in a Christian family. I think my parents became Christians when I was about the age of 3, so it kind of counts. My parents became Christians through my grandmother from mother's side. She was really persistent in dragging them to church, and one day she succeeded, and so they came to church with like, okay, we'll do it. But then God really touched them, and through special revelation, they realized that that's what they need. Little bit about my parents. Both of them are professional musicians. That means they have received higher education in music. My dad has finished drum direction. My mom is a professional pianist. So basically that's how they even met each other. And why am I saying that? In church, whenever they came to like any church, we've been to 2 churches so far, they've been always a part of a worship team, which I eventually ended up in as well. For me, I had some time before about age of 14 when I was attending church, but it was not something I really took seriously. I was going there for my friends, I was going there to have some fun, and so on. But then there was some time when a group of missionaries from USA came to Kyrgyzstan, and my parents got involved in that ministry with them. And that was my first time traveling around Kyrgyzstan in that time. And that's when I felt that I really met Christ, met God on a personal relationship level. Because God is about relationship, not just religion. So I was, kind of living very, very preserved, secure life. I was attending church. I was attending Christian high school. My family was Christian. So very ordinary life, very, nothing challenging at all. And during that time, when you live in such perfect conditions, you don't even get to critically assess anything about your life. You don't even think or doubt anything in a good way. So that was me before my way to Handong started. And I feel like, first of all, I'm a scholarship student in Handong. I hold Handong Cornerstone Scholarship, if you know about that. And I think for most people who actually have this kind of scholarship, the way to Handong is a subject of separate testimony, because it's a really powerful way how God works in their lives and how faith grows through that process. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my way to here as well. I was introduced to Handong through a group of Korean missionaries which actually have founded the school which I was attending. And they told me, you kind of study well, so we want to help you out. We will help you out with the documents, with interview process. You want to do it? I said, sure, let's try. And I didn't have really passionate attitude towards that. It was like, if it happens, just let it be. It's fine. If it doesn't, it's okay. So right now I realized how bad of attitude was that back then, because I'm so grateful to God that God has brought me here. So that laziness and indifference is not a good thing when it comes to opportunity like that, coming to a Christian school in Korea, somewhere abroad. And because of I didn't have so much passion for my application in general, I have failed my first application to Handong. And therefore, I ended up with like about 6 months of idling, not doing anything. And but some way I decided to give it a second shot, give it a second try. And so I tried to apply everything over again. I have sent all the documents and tried to make sure that they're all correct and nothing is missing. And during that time, I think God started touching me in a more special way, and I started to spend more time in the prayer, because I started realizing that this is really an opportunity I do not want to miss out on. And there were so many troubles on my way to Handong. First of all, the document process, so many things not clear. Then when I passed through document process, there was an interview, which was also full of troubles. Back in my home that time, we didn't have a good internet. And as you know, internationals usually have a Skype interview with Handong. So I couldn't afford having a Skype interview back at my home. So we had to find friends. We had a friend's family who had good internet, actually. So we went there, and it was really early morning. When I was taking interview in the room, like there was a computer, everything. There was somebody like sleeping in the corner of the same room. It's a pretty interesting memory when I look back on it. Yeah, that was a very anxious moment, but nonetheless I passed through. And then period of waiting, whether it's going to happen or not. And my future depended on it. I really put a lot of hope in this opportunity. I actually haven't applied to any other university back then, which I think was not too of a wise decision. But then one day, me and my mom, we were driving from her workplace, and I received this notification on the phone. It was like email. I looked through it. It said, "Congratulations." I tried to look over again to make sure if it's correct, Did I miss anything? Then I said to my mom, I got accepted. That's what she did. Yes! Your parents love you when they do such a reaction, right? So I was very happy, but I think mostly everybody else was happy about me. I felt that it was a dream. It didn't happen to me yet. So that whole process was going through a lot of difficulties and troubles, some fees that I had to submit, but I was not able to, some not clear points within the application process. But I realized that God was there all the way along with me. And that kind of process requires me to trust in Him. Because, when I submitted those documents, that was it. I couldn't control anything else. That was like done on my part. I did my best, but from then on it was just God. And I think Proverbs 3:5 say best about it is, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." And my own understanding back then was fear, doubt, anxiety. I shouldn't have trusted in that for sure. And so that's how I came to Korea, basically. So here in Handong, it is my very last semester. I studied computer science department, information technology, and second major, global management from Department of Management and Economics. Besides those studies, I had a couple more interests which I really enjoyed sharing with others and having here, something like basketball, something like having lots of friends around here. And when you come to foreign culture like that and you start living there, you start coming up with the question like, who am I? And I never really thought about myself as of like, Russian or as of somebody with his own identity. But when you come to a separate culture, you start actually realizing, oh, I'm different. And who am I at all? Like you start actually analyzing, you start even appreciating something about your own culture. And this kind of comparison is actually so powerful for so many things out there. I realized that even attending to different churches here and there brings you to a deeper understanding of what church should be like, what its actual value to people, how should we, or what kind of attitude should we have towards church, and so many questions get answered when you actually start to compare. And here, one of the things why I came here was also that this university is a Christian university. And I realized how much I have learned here because not only just Christian courses, sermons I've heard here, people I met and talked to, all of these knowledge sources were so valuable to me when I was becoming a stronger Christian. So this whole lifestyle, education, living on my own have transformed me, and I'm definitely not the person I used to be. Definitely better, and I hope God continues changing me. So thing I want to share with you today is something I learned through these past years. And one of those things is I learned the power of gratitude. How it is important, why should we be grateful for everything we have? To say you all know, Bible talks a lot about being grateful. There are so many verses. When I tried to prepare this testimony, I Googled for Bible verses of Thanksgiving. There were a lot of them. I think Psalms 107, 8-9 says pretty good about it. Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind. For he satisfies the thirsty and fills hungry with good things. Amen. You know, I come here as a scholarship student, and I realized after a time that, I think I have no right to complain at all. I'm basically given everything for free. But I also realized that, being grateful means that we probably shouldn't complain about lots of things. Again, when it comes to comparing something, some different standards against each other, you realize that that's where the complaints come from. People have different standards. For us, maybe food in Korean table is not tasting that good, but for some people from other countries who experience way deeper poverty, it might be one of the best things they've ever tried. I also think that being grateful results in being content with what you have. And being content with what you have results in peace of mind. Because, once you start realizing that, I don't need a whole lot more stuff to have. I don't need to have the latest iPhone, or I don't need to have the best clothes on me. You start realizing that, okay, I have just dropped something that I'm not rushing after. And you can just enjoy being yourself, being with what you have right now. And I'm not trying to say that it's bad to strive for something more. Definitely, go ahead and strive for something better. But first step, I think, is giving thanks for what you have right now. And I think also 2 Corinthians 4:18 says good thing. So we fix our eyes on not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. We're going to die soon, you know that? Someday. That might be really bad news or for somebody. Not many people think about it, but things going to perish. And there are a lot of things that are unseen that we are not really pursuing in this life. But we should. So I think it is very important to be grateful in any situation. Again, as I told you, I'm so grateful to come here. I don't even know why, in the first place, God allowed me to come here. I realized that it's not because of my own righteousness. It's just He wants me to be here. It was part of His will. And I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to use every opportunity that he sends on my way. And this gratefulness, I think, is one of the keys that will open up doors for better opportunities for you, because who's faithful in little will be faithful in larger things. And another thing that come from Proverbs as well, what I learned and what I think will be like one of the topics for my life, at least I want it to be, is constantly seeking for wisdom and knowledge. I think it is also something that Handong gave me. I think it is true to you as well. Here we study a lot, you know that, right? But not only studying, it's just seeking for wisdom is a very practical thing. Because, let's start from saying that I love Proverbs. It's like my favorite book in the Bible. Right now, my father used to tell me, no, you should read it. It's good for young people. I think it's good for everybody. But books of Proverbs teach us how to live here on the earth well and get good results from your living. So it's a very practical book. And wisdom is basically a means and a tools of how to live well on the earth and how to be good and efficient in this kind of living. So, I think I want to learn that, and I want to try to master it and become better at it, because ultimately, while I'm here, I want to make best use of my time. And I think another thing that comes from here is wisdom is a means to get something, but I think another thing to keep in the back of our heads is to have a disciplined approach to life. Has anybody heard of a book named Road Less Traveled? Some of you might have heard. It's a really brilliant book, I would say, and I really love its first part, which actually talks about discipline. Author goes on and tells that discipline is a basic set of tools to be able to solve life problems. And interesting, you don't look at it this way, but he says solving problems is one of the meanings of our lives, because that's how we actually keep growing. That's how we become better, we become stronger, we become more wise. So discipline and wisdom, I feel like there are two foundational things for our lives, in a sense that if we want to make efficient, good, and faithful living on the earth, we should pursue them. And coming back to what I said, I think Handong is doing a good thing of nurturing it, and I hope Handong will continue doing it. To say, I do not really want to live an ordinary life. I do not want to graduate and get good ordinary job, get good ordinary house, and then someday just die. I want to have an extraordinary life. I want to have some impact on this world. Like, why not change the world, the motto of Handong? Through the years, I realized that, these words have some good meaning to it. I didn't come to here because of that motto, but later on, as I was going through my years of studying, I thought that, I might not live the richest life out there, but I want to live the life that's going to leave good legacy in here, and that's going to touch lives. And I think ultimate happiness actually comes from touching people's lives. And I want to do it. I hope you guys also want to do that too. And I do think that Handong is a kind of a school that actually has potential to nurture people so they can grow and have a good, strong foundation in godliness, and in the same time, good foundation in academics to be able to actually do something out there. So another thing why I talked about discipline is I was reading Proverbs the other day, and passage Proverbs 24, 33 to 34 says that a little sleep, little slumber, little folding of hands, and poverty comes on you like a thief. That is scary, don't you think? It's like it doesn't take too much effort to become poor. That's what it basically says. to become lazy, but otherwise it's true too. It takes a lot of effort to develop good discipline. It takes a lot of effort to become a good, godly man who strives to do good things. And I think within our school, it is important to constantly realize that, especially as we are striving to get the world changed, because it's a big task we take on ourselves. Another thing that Bible talks about is, I was reading the Genesis 3:17, and it says, "Cursed is the ground for thy sake." That's kind of weird, right? Cursed ground for me. And I think you can see it clearly in KJV translation the best. But it's interesting that actually God tells us here that it is when you work, you're going to do good. It is when you're made to produce some result, be productive and efficient, you're going to lead a good way. And another is true, that when you're idling, that's when the Satan has a door to come into your life and do sinful things through you. I think on the other course of Pastor Greg's sermon, PG-13, there's one point that says, guard your time. That is completely true. Whenever we do not really guard our time is one of the first points of our failure and where we can get stroke. Another thing, who knows who's Bruce Lee? Okay, it's a pretty popular guy. People know them. Some might not. I guess those who didn't raise hands are sleeping. That's okay. All right. Well, Bruce Lee used to be known as a master of martial arts in his days, and he was filmed in many movies out there. And one interesting fact about them is that when cameras were trying to capture his movements, they couldn't do it because he was too fast. And cameras of that day were not too developed yet. How did he get to that point? With the path of discipline. And one of the quotes I love that was said by Bruce Lee is he said that discipline is not limitation of freedom. Discipline is getting rid of everything that holds you back. That is pretty good saying out there. And I want to be able to develop discipline like that because once I have it, I can basically achieve everything in my life because, main enemy in life of every one of you is you. And it's me for me too. So this is something I have learned through Handong. I think two main points for me was to be constantly grateful and to be hardworking and learning to love disciplined students. And I want to remain like that for my life, my whole life. I don't want education to stop in here because I think once you stop, you actually start degrading. You never are able to actually stop somewhere. There's no middle ground in this. One thing I want to, again, emphasize is why I think Handong is such a brilliant and awesome place to be in. First thing is, I think it is, at least in my case and in case of many of you guys, importance of education abroad. I think it is such a great thing to come in another country and get education there because you're not getting only academic education, you also get cross-cultural experience, which is something that teaches you a lot of experience for your future life. You get to understand the whole world better, and ultimately you get to be a better person. And you get to become a more interesting person because it is always more interesting to talk with somebody who has been to many countries and have experienced lots of interesting cultures and things. And second thing important about Handong, I think, is importance of Christian education. These days, secular high schools and universities are such places where Christian faith basically gets destroyed, and it gets destroyed so easily. I think it is important for all Christians and all non-Christians as well to come to Christian universities, because here you get to spend so much time in understanding what is Christianity, who is God. It's not just you attend class and go back. Here on campus we constantly dwell in the Word, and this is beautiful. So as I mentioned, I think Handong is a really awesome place that is able to bring people to do change in the world. And I think it did that to me. And I hope I will be able to go out there in the world and do some good impact, not really seeking for my own good, but to be able to touch lives of people so they will see that, you know, God in this guy, and I want to follow the same God as he does. So to wrap up my testimony, I just want to say, as we come closer to the end of semester, which is pretty soon, and it's going to be the very last thing for me, the very last semester for me, I want to say thank you for all the professors. Thank you for all of my friends, all of the communities, classes that I take in. It's been such a great experience to be here, and I would recommend definitely everyone I know, all the younger guys who are actually considering university, to come here, because it's a really God-blessed place. And I hope it will continue to grow, and it will not fade, and it will continue to make impact on the world through the students that graduate from here. So thank you. It was an honor for me. God bless you.